is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. It is Saturday, May 30th, 2020, and it's a beautiful Saturday afternoon. I got at least an hour of your day filled with wrestling news so that you can ease on into the rest of the weekend, man. I got a lot of stuff to go over. Gonna keep it a little bit more on the abbreviated side today, and I'm gonna do something that I have not done in a very long time. I'm actually gonna come back with a part 3 of the podcast on Sunday because I actually had quite the bit of news this weekend, so I'm gonna extend it on into Sunday, and we're gonna wrap everything up coming out of Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Some big news coming out of NXT, some exclusive news coming out of NXT. Matt Riddle's not the only one from NXT getting demoted to the main roster, so we'll go over that tomorrow. But I want to concentrate on one big story today, and that is the retirement of one Rey Mysterio, and I use the term retirement very loosely. Rey Mysterio is not retiring from the WWE. He may not be with the WWE for the duration of 2020. He may end up going to AEW because I know Cody Rhodes has said multiple times that he has an eye on when Rey Mysterio's WWE contract is over. What is this leading to for Rey Mysterio? What do they have planned on Monday Night Raw for his retirement ceremony? What role is Seth Rollins going to play in this entire thing? And how do you make Seth Rollins even more villainous coming out of Monday's Rey Mysterio retirement segment? I got one way they could do that. One way that they can turn this entire thing into one big epic segment and really make Rey Mysterio the sympathetic figure in his battle for revenge against Seth Rollins. We're going to go over that on the podcast today. Also, I have news on WCW. Yes, WCW, World Championship Wrestling. WWE has been in the news, and they've been trademarking a ton of WCW-related content, or getting ready to produce WCW-related content. Now, what does this mean? People in the community are making videos, clickbait videos, that WCW is going to have a resurrection, that WWE is bringing back WCW. That is not the case. We will go over what WWE is doing and what it more than likely means heading on into the summer and fall for WCW. WWE is rebuilding the live schedule again as well. Ticket sales and talks of ticket sales are set to resume. What does this mean for WWE's touring brand? I got news on the Raw ratings, the NXT ratings, the AEW ratings, all of that. Got news on Adam Cole versus the Velveteen Dream as well. Their match for Takeover In Your House is already filmed. And is it getting the cinematic treatment? We're going to go over that. Nigel McGuinness news coming out of NXT. Samoa Joe, an update on his return to the WWE ring after they replaced Jerry the King Lawler permanently with Samoa Joe on commentary. And big news on Apollo Crews. Vince McMahon, is he to be trusted in regards to Apollo Crews now becoming the new United States champion? Do you trust Vince McMahon with Apollo Crews? I am not going to sit here and say that Apollo Crews doesn't deserve it, but I'm going to tell you every single time I have the opportunity to, that Vince McMahon and WWE, when they do things like this, and you look at their past track record, they are to not be trusted. And we'll go over that as well, and why Vince McMahon had previously given up on everything Apollo Crews. So we got a loaded show today. Thank you guys so very much for joining me on the podcast. Again, man, I hope you're safe. I hope you're happy. I hope you're having a great Saturday. There's a lot of bullshit going on in the world today. Don't go on Twitter, man. It's a complete cesspool. I'll keep saying it. I mean, you want to stay off social media? Absolutely. If you can, please do so, man. It is nothing more than a depressing vortex, and I'm going to try my best to heed my own words and stay off social media, because if you go on Twitter, man, I'm telling you, you would think the world is actually coming to an end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record this, and I'm going right to the beach. I'm going to put my feet in the sand. I'm going to pop open a nice hard seltzer, and I'm going to listen to the sound of the ocean and forget everybody exists. That's exactly what I'm doing. It's Saturday at 12 noon, and I'm going to get done with this. You guys will see this later on in the day, and I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you right back here on Sunday. But before we get into that, man, I want to thank everybody for the kind words on the SmackDown review. We will go over that more in depth as well on tomorrow's episode. Everybody is flipping out over the Jeff Hardy situation. It kind of came to an end. It started and then it ended. So you've seen the WWE low blow to Jeff Hardy with the drunk driving incident, and then they kind of wiped it away at the end of the show when he's looking for revenge on Sheamus. Now, you could go one way or the other. I didn't really mind it. I didn't really see a big deal in it. But people are taking it to be the worst thing ever. I don't trust WWE. You guys know this. You guys should know this. I don't trust WWE with anything. The redemption storyline really doesn't make sense if WWE is going to give me vignettes on Jeff Hardy and then show me an angle where he is behind the wheel drunk driving. And I said it last night. WWE does things to expose you. WWE does things to beat you down. Is this really going to be the redemption of Jeff Hardy? Or is this going to be WWE kind of kicking Jeff Hardy out of the WWE? Is his redemption really going to be a redemption? But at the time we seen it on Friday night, I really didn't mind it. And I don't know what they have planned for Jeff Hardy. For all we know, Jeff Hardy's going to end up in AEW with Matt at the end of all of this. So what does that really mean? I don't know. But everybody kind of blew up on Twitter about this Jeff Hardy situation. I didn't mind it. We're going to go over it more because I got news on that particular situation for tomorrow's show. But if you missed my SmackDown review, you want my immediate thoughts on that big angle that they started SmackDown off with on Friday night's show, go and check out the SmackDown review. That is live on the channel right now. Link is down in the description below. Also, do not forget part 1 of the podcast. That is already up on the channel. It was uploaded at 3 p.m. on Friday afternoon. Big exclusive news on WWE possibly canceling Sasha Banks and Bayley for SummerSlam. Now, what does that mean? You're gonna have to go and watch the video. But WWE might have a very good reason for at least holding off on that match until things get back to normal. But what does it mean for the meantime? How do we get Bayley through the rest of the year? Who do you line her up with to defend that championship against? Who do you have in place if you want to postpone or cancel that match? Who do you have in place that is not named Sasha Banks? I don't know. Usually I have the answers. I don't. Because the women's division in WWE, in my honest opinion, is a complete cesspool. It is trash. They have let the women's division down. It is a complete mess. You got some of the elites, and you know who they are, and then the rest of the division is just there. No meaning, no importance, downright irrelevant. Women's wrestling is not what it was when Becky Lynch was ascending the ranks of WWE, leading to her winning the championship at WrestleMania 35. It is absolutely not the same. And I've said this over and over and over again. The women's division was killed coming out of WrestleMania 35. WWE had no plan in place, and still, everything I mentioned then is now just rearing its ugly head. So we talk about that on Friday's show. Go and check that out. Link is down below in the description. Follow me on social media, man, at JDfromNY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for all the new follows on Instagram and on Twitter. We are nearing 32,000 followers on the good old Bluebird. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. Patreon.com/JDfromNY206. Never an obligation. If you guys want to go and support the podcast, it is always there for you. Follow me on Twitch if you're into the video game thing. Twitch.tv/JDfromNY. And as always, if you guys want to listen to the podcast via audio format, I am available on iTunes and Spotify. I would love if you guys leave a 5-star rating on iTunes because it greatly helps out the ranking and the search of the podcast over on iTunes. So thank you guys for all of the support there via the audio platforms. Let's start at the top, man. Start off with this WCW World Championship Wrestling news. Is WWE looking to possibly bring back World Championship Wrestling? In recent years, nostalgia for the now extinct WCW has increased. I've seen more NWO shirts now than I have in recent years, as modern fans still see the Monday Night Wars of the 90s as the peak of pro wrestling. Once WWE won the war and bought WCW, it appeared that WCW was going to be swept under the carpet by WWE in the hope that new fans wouldn't even know it existed. Typical WWE mentality. However, some recent trademark filings by WWE suggest we could be seeing the return of World Championship Wrestling in some form, even if it's just merchandise. PW Insider notes that WWE has filed trademarks on the initials WCW for business ventures like cardboard packaging, collector albums for sticker collectibles, and temporary tattoo transfers. There have been glimpses in the past few years that WWE is slowly bringing back aspects of WCW, with events such as Starrcade taking place. We've also seen the return of War Games on NXT, a former staple of Eric Bischoff's old promotion. WWE is currently in dire need of something to help boost its TV ratings, which are currently in free fall, rightfully so, because the product sucks. So perhaps the return of more WCW-themed shows could help do just that. WWE is not bringing back WCW. It's not going to be a fourth brand. They're not going to put it on a Tuesday night. They're not doing anything of that nature. This is simply for merchandise. WWE has no live revenue, no live gate coming in as far as revenue goes for their live shows. Not until the end of the year, hopefully, when things get back to normal. But this is clearly WWE setting themselves up for the months to come when everybody goes back to school and we start getting things back to normal. They want to start promoting the merchandise with WCW likeness on it, school boxes, backpacks, this and that, right? So WWE is merely using this for merchandising and pushing their stuff on WWE Shop. This does not mean that WCW Nitro is going to be back on television come Tuesday night. Maybe this leads to WWE doing a retro WCW Nitro-themed Monday Night Raw. We don't know. I would not be surprised if they dip back into the nostalgia bag to maybe generate some ratings for their dying program, which to me, I don't give a shit about that whatsoever. I know these fucking cretins on social media, they'll jump all over that, but I'll be the first one to tell you, I'll be the fucking first one in line to tell you, this is what you want from your WWE product in 2020. You want to relive a fucking nostalgia period in 1990 where WWE is bringing back WCW Nitro on a themed episode of Raw in 2020. Can you go any more backwards? Who wants that? Instead of building for the future and moving forward, you're moving backwards because you lack creativity to sell the current stars of this generation and make them into household names and book them in a prominent way and make these guys stand out as the elite in this industry. No, you want to go back and fucking relive the NWO. You want to go back and relive the fucking WCW Nitro days. Nobody gives a shit about that. I loathe the Monday night shows where they go back and do the retro shows or the anniversary shows. It is so far of a deviation away from what WWE actually needs to be doing. I hated the old school. Actually, the old school, the only thing about the old school Raw that I liked was the fact that I loved the old school theme. I love the old logo. I love the referees in the blue fucking shirts. I love the siren. I love the old school Monday Night Raw theme song. That was it. The aesthetic look of it is what I love because I still think some of those aspects fit into the current product. But if you're going to bring back all these legends and fucking push all the current roster to the side, that's where I have an issue. I don't give a shit if it's for one night. It should be 0 nights. They are in the past for a reason. Don't start using the past because you refuse to build up the future. Don't start using the past because you have zero creativity to build for the future. Don't build up the past and bring the past back because you need a fucking dire attempt, a desperate attempt at a rating to appease USA and Fox network management officials. Give me a break. Give me a break. This is for merchandise only. Now, if WWE wants to bring back a Halloween Havoc, or if WWE wants to bring back the Great American Bash, or Bash at the Beach, or whatever the fuck Cody hasn't trademarked already on AEW side, then I would actually say, you know what, that's a great idea. If WWE wants to start bringing back some old WCW-themed pay-per-views and start integrating them into their actual pay-per-view calendar, I've been calling for this and a move like that for years. I've been calling for that for years. October should not be a Hell in a Cell. First of all, the gimmick pay-per-views, I've said this time and time again, need to die. Hell in a Cell needs to die. TLC needs to die. Money in the Bank needs to die. They're all ruined. WWE's ruined the love and the overall aura of those matches. They've ruined the appeal of those matches. Having them happen yearly, year after year after year, for years on end, ruins the perception of those matches. It's not like WWE does anything with the Money in the Bank anyway. Might as well just keep it as a WrestleMania staple that you had all those many years ago. Hell in a Cell doesn't need to be every single year. I gotta think Hell in a Cell because, oh look, Hell and Halloween, they go one and the same. So we're gonna do Hell in a Cell. It's so evil and it's so hellish, right? Give me a break. All because October is synonymous with Halloween, Hell in a Cell. So every year, come October, I gotta watch Hell in a Cell. Meanwhile, Hell in a Cell and the concept of Hell in a Cell has been ruined and tarnished because it happens every fucking year. If Hell in a Cell went away for about 5 or 6 years and it was used in a prominent feud to blow off a big-time feud, then it would have more importance. How about a Halloween Havoc-themed pay-per-view? Starrcade could be the December pay-per-view leading on into the Royal Rumble if you want to use that. But this is just me speaking to the wall. This is me speaking to the wall. Nobody listens. WWE won't use any of those concepts because they're not WWE concepts. Meanwhile, they spent money on them, and WWE is not using them to make their product better because it's not a WWE-created concept. Vince didn't come up with it. Now, there may be copyright issues with those names. They got Starrcade, I believe. The only reason why they haven't used a Halloween Havoc-themed pay-per-view is because they don't own the copyright or the trademark to that name. I don't know. I'm not going to go do investigative work on that. It would make sense, though. It really would make sense if they take those aspects of WCW and integrate them into current WWE programming. That would make sense. Them bringing back WCW or them doing a WCW-themed Monday Night Raw? No. Now, let's just start thinking about the future and move forward instead of moving backwards. WWE moving backwards is their fucking mentality. It's their MO. Move forward. WCW merchandise, I'm fine with. Them bringing back nostalgia of WCW, I am completely against that. WWE is rebuilding its live schedule ticket sales, and the talks of ticket sales are set to resume. WrestleVotes is reporting that WWE and their live event schedule is being rebuilt, and discussions on ticket sales are moving forward with plans to implement social distancing guidelines. It's a tricky situation, so it will be interesting to see how WWE can pull this off. WrestleVotes also indicated that anything with fans should not be expected until July. So it looks like, folks, we will have the plexiglass. Looks like we'll have the plexiglass for the foreseeable future, which I fucking hate. I think it looks terrible. I think it looks tacky. It looks awful. So it looks like we're not going to get fans, and it looks like the plexiglass and the WWE Performance Center talent, the NXT talent, the developmental talent, they'll be there for the shows for the foreseeable future until July at least. So that means Takeover In Your House, WWE Backlash, and all remaining Raw, SmackDown, and NXT shows into July. The only thing I could recommend is get these fucking people some chairs. Please. I heard a report or read a report that WWE has had these individuals standing for 6, 7, 8 hours on end, rotating in and out. Get them some fucking chairs. Get rid of the plexiglass so that way that we can see them sit. And when they sit, we could still see them in the crowd reacting. Why do they got to be standing? I don't understand it. WWE being negligent with their own fucking talent. Is it necessary for them to stand? I wouldn't want to stand there, especially for a Raw taping. Back-to-back Raw tapings, back-to-back SmackDown tapings. 205 Live. Main event. Unreal, man. Vince McMahon has reportedly been dead set on getting fans in attendance at SummerSlam. I don't blame him. I blame him for a lot of shit, but that I don't blame him for. I actually am I'm with Vince McMahon on that. Usually I would be against him. That I am with Vince McMahon on. However, the city of Boston, like we mentioned, is not allowing mass gatherings until September at the earliest, so WWE will have one of two things to do. A, you either move SummerSlam to a different state that allows a live audience of some capacity in some aspect, or WWE moves SummerSlam from August to September in this year, and they do it again in Boston. And that is one of the major reasons why WWE might be holding back on Sasha Banks versus Bayley, because they had a big plan for Sasha Banks in Boston to go against Bayley and get that big crowd hometown reaction. So that was one of the reasons there. One thing that will need to be addressed is the CV-19 testing and face masks. If WWE can get rapid testing and face masks for every fan who enters an arena for one of their shows, then it would be more feasible for them to run shows while reducing any potential exposure to the virus. WWE began using plexiglass at the Performance Center this week to put some distance between the NXT wrestlers posing as talent and the wrestlers in the ring. That may have been something considered for when fans are allowed back at their shows. So that's that. Rebuilding its live schedule. WrestleVotes, they've gotten a lot of things right. They've gotten some things wrong here and there, but if there's anybody in the community that I'm going to listen to and really take a big stance on here, and I'm going to believe, it's WrestleVotes. They indicated that fans should not be expected until at least July, so we'll wait till July. WWE, even though it's lame and the plexiglass is up and the talent is really not overly excited, they don't really come off as excited. We talked about this on Friday's show. They sound scripted. They sound like they're being given cues to boo, cues to cheer. Sounds like Vince McMahon's running his own orchestra. He waves the fucking baton or the magic wand, right? And they jump. And when he puts the baton or the magic wand down, they sit down. Not literally, because they don't have any fucking chairs, or they stop. So Vince McMahon looks like he's pulling the strings with the fucking NXT talent in the crowd. I wish they were a little bit more genuine. I think it would make for a better show, but this is WWE, where every aspect of their show has to be micromanaged. I hate it. I appreciate the fact that they're actually taking steps in the right direction after AEW kind of showed them up on how to do an empty arena show, but WWE, as always, is late to the game, and now they're doing the right thing, and now it's coming off disingenuous, it's coming off overproduced, it's coming off very micromanaged, it's coming off very uncool. Typical WWE. That's what happens when you got a 74-year-old man running the World Wrestling Entertainment product. That's just me. But live schedule, we'll see what happens. The one thing is, how many of these people are actually going to go, are actually want to go, or actually going to go and want to see this shit live? How many of these people are going to want to put their health at risk to go watch a live wrestling show? It's interesting. Would you guys actually, if they are allowing fans back in attendance, would you guys... Now, I know my audience is not going to go because we can barely watch this shit on TV live in the comfort of our own home. You're going to go pay money and sit there and watch this shit live? I don't think so. I mean, I wouldn't. But if you had the opportunity to, or if you're someone who's listening to me that does enjoy going to live shows, are you going to go and put your health at risk to go watch a live wrestling show, or any sporting event for that matter? It could be baseball, it could be basketball, it could be hockey, it could be tennis, right? It could be a concert. I missed Alter Bridge and Symphony X. That was back in May. That was back in the beginning of May. I would willingly go there, still, to go watch those two bands perform. So that's just my opinion. Virus or not, let me know what you guys would do. But WWE is rebuilding their live schedule. Ticket sales and their talks to sell tickets will resume according to WrestleVotes. We'll see what happens, and we'll visit this back in July. Maybe things will be a lot different. WWE had plans to bring back a major, old-time superstar for WrestleMania 36. Several weeks ago, it was noted in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that there were talks about the immortal Hulk Hogan and having him appear at WrestleMania. Hogan was already going to be in town because the NWO was going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. The talks with Hogan fell through, and even if a deal had been reached, the Battle Royal plans ended up being scrapped anyway because of the CV-19 forcing WWE to move the show from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa to the Performance Center in Orlando. Now, this week, sources said there was a pitch that was made to have Hogan appear in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and have him win the match. A WWE source said the idea was he wouldn't take any bumps. We would work it in so he would only have to eliminate one or two guys at the end, and then he would get his big celebration at the end with his music. It would have been the perfect situation because he lives in the Tampa area. Now, sources were also told that the idea was pitched to Vince McMahon, and he did not shoot it down. And the idea was still on the table as of late February. Again, sources told the dirt sheets that even if Hogan agreed to this, the plans would have been scrapped once the company realized they had to pull the Battle Royal from the show. The talks between WWE and Hogan fell through due to both sides not being able to agree to financial terms. So Hogan obviously wanted more money than WWE was willing to give him, number one. And imagine you going into WrestleMania 36. Now, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal means fucking nothing. But two things here. Number one, imagine having a match so worthless on your show that you book a match like this and plan for Hulk Hogan, who is 60 some odd years old, right? Had multiple back surgeries, can't even stand up right, can't even walk correctly. You want this guy in a match with all of your younger talent, and you're going to have all of your younger talent at the biggest show of the year put over somebody that's been put over more than anybody in company history at this particular event. And number two, imagine having a match so worthless on this show that you're happy with this type of outcome. Now, I don't know what you guys think, but I know that everything that I do, I want it to be right. Everything that I do, I want it to be perfect. Mistakes obviously happen, but this is WWE blatantly making a mistake and not even batting an eyelash at it. That couldn't be me. I don't know who in their right mind would have a battle royal mean absolutely nothing or match on this show mean virtually, absolutely nothing. I cannot even begin to fathom having a match on a show like this that has absolutely no meaning and will be of zero importance to anybody that wins it. It could have been anybody that wins it. No matter who would have won this match, whoever came out of the winner of this match, or whoever came out the winner of this match, would virtually have nothing else happen to them. No push. It's not going to advance their career. WWE can spew all the bullshit that they want. No matter who has won this match in the past, it's done nothing for their career. It's at the bottom of the barrel. It's at the bottom of the list of accolades when all is said and done. I cannot even imagine a match of this irrelevancy on a show like WrestleMania. This is why I am an advocate for getting rid of this type of match. I am an advocate and have been for years about not putting everybody on WrestleMania show. WWE has this thing about WrestleMania where they have to have all hands on deck. Everybody's got to be on the show because it's the biggest show of the year. If you don't do anything all year, or you haven't done anything on WWE TV of importance, then why do you deserve to be on WrestleMania? It's the Super Bowl of pro wrestling. You're not going to have the fucking garbage teams of the NFL or the garbage teams of MLB going on into the World Series playing for the World Series crown. So why are you going to have bottom of the barrel talent compete at WrestleMania when they've done nothing? It's like you're rewarding them for basically just being there. I can't stand that type of mentality. Having Hulk Hogan there for what? For what? He legitimately needs one more glorified moment for Hulkamania? Bro, just retire into your beach shop and sell your fucking replica championship belts and your replica pull-apart Hulkamania t-shirts. Give me a break. Plans to bring back Hulk Hogan. Why don't you plan to build up a fucking superstar that's been on TV 300 fucking days out of the year and make a new household name? Worried about building Hulk Hogan up. Get rid of the fucking Battle Royal and give me the Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania. Make it mean something. No, you want to have that as a standalone event and then you want to ruin it for the rest of the year anyway. What has WWE done for the Money in the Bank ladder match in the last 3 or 4 years? Nothing. Absolutely nothing on the men's and women's side. No, but you want to get everybody in the fucking show in a Battle Royal. Hulk Hogan. Oh, yeah, let me get the Hulkster at WrestleMania. How many of you are still Hulk Hogan fans anyway? It's probably split 50-50. Some of you don't give a shit about what he did, but there are some people that I know personally that will never forgive him for what he did and what he said. Is that somebody you want to see on your fucking show? Is that someone you want to see taking a spot from somebody else and a moment away from somebody else? Bullshit, man. I had a lot to say about that. I really did. I found that to be in the news, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. But it's Vince McMahon. I'm not surprised. Speaking of not being surprised, man, the Raw ratings for Monday, and no, clown, it's not because of Memorial Day. WWE has been down in the ratings. I guess every week can be fucking Memorial Day. The Monday Night Raw ratings accumulated the second lowest rating in the show's history. This is like a common theme every single week with WWE. The Raw ratings are down again, second lowest in show history. Raw on Monday, the first show with an actual crowd, quote unquote, in more than 2 months, still did the second lowest number in modern show history, averaging 1.74 million viewers over the 3 hours, down 1% from the previous second lowest mark set last week. The first to third hour drop was 7%, which is lower than usual. It's a combination of a better show to keep the existing viewers and the fact that the Memorial Day Raw often starts out lower and a lot of people tune in later due to the holiday. I don't know where you guys were, but where I was, Memorial Day was pretty much ruined, A, because of what happened on Twitter, and B, the weather sucked. So where were you going? It wasn't beach weather where I was. Maybe you grilled at home and you stood home and you had a couple of drinks at home and you ate dinner at home. Maybe you invited some friends and family over to your house or you went to their house. But everybody was home. Everybody on the East Coast, man, it wasn't summer weather. Memorial Day actually came a week earlier than it did last year. Now this weekend is more like Memorial Day. Last weekend was not, weather-wise. So Memorial Day and blaming it on the holiday, there you go, bro. Start using more excuses. Go ahead. I dare you. More and more you do that, the more and more you look like a fucking moron. Raw finished in 14th place overall and tied for the first place of the night at 0.51 in the 18 to 49 demo with an episode of 90 Day Fiancé on TLC. So there you go. I guess that's the only thing that matters. They tied for first in demo. Among non-news shows, Raw was 5th overall. The Titan Games, which is probably the main reason why WWE was down, and everybody expected that. The Titan Games, hosted by The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, which went head-to-head with the first 2 hours of Raw, did 3.44 million viewers on NBC and a 0.7 in the 18 to 49 demo. ABC, CBS, and Fox all had rerun programming. ABC, with a rerun of 2 episodes of Celebrity Family Feud, won the night overall, while Titan Games was the highest-rated show on television in 18 to 34 demographics and the 18 to 49, both with men and women and as well as the 25 to 54. The audience was down 21% from the same show last year. Where is everybody? Overall and down 29% overall in the 18 to 49 demographic. An example of the Memorial Day difference is the third hour was actually up 4% from the first hour with men 18 to 49 and with teenage girls, but was down 17% with women 18 to 49 and 16% with men 12 to 34. The 3 hours were as follows: 8 p.m. 1.81, 9 p.m. 1.73, and 10 p.m. was a 1.67. Folks, the reason why the shows are down is because the shows primarily and largely suck. Now, the thing is, even though Raw has been mainly garbage the last couple of months, you cannot have a good show. And even though I came out here and said it was a decent show on Monday, which it was probably the best Monday Night Raw of the last couple of weeks by far. But that's not really saying much because the bar is so low. But if you have months of garbage and then you put on a good show or at least a decent show, how many people are going to realize that? They've been so tuned out and so turned off due to the months and months and months of garbage that you've given us that they're not going to want to watch. So when you have a good show, nobody knows you're having a good show. What WWE needs to do is build consistency. That is one of the primary reasons that the ratings are down. They're not consistent. If they build good show after good show after good show after good show for a nice 6-month period, then you'll start to see things on the increase. But you can't give me fucking 6 months of garbage and then have a good show here, a good show there. Nobody is going to know when those good shows happen because most of them are fucking terrible. Now, Monday Night Raw, why was it a good show? Charlotte Flair, Nia Jax, Natalya had a triple threat match to crown a number one contender for Asuka's Raw Women's Championship. Nia Jax ended up winning, which was the right decision. I don't really agree with Nia Jax getting a title shot. She's fucking Queen Botch, as far as I'm concerned. But she was the only obvious winner here. Now, I complained about this till I was blue in the face. Natalya didn't belong there. Charlotte didn't belong there. Charlotte needs to be on NXT. She's the NXT Women's Champion. That experiment is a failure. Get her back on Monday Night Raw if you want to be pushing her on Monday and Friday nights. You can't be having her on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. She's the NXT Champion. She needs to be on one show. She's a representative of Wednesday night. She needs to be on NXT. I don't get why this concept is so difficult for WWE to grasp. Meanwhile, they think that I want to see Charlotte Flair on Monday and Friday. Nobody asked. Nobody wants. Charlotte Flair is one of the main reasons why WWE programming is fucking terrible. She sucks. Overexposure is a killer, folks. WWE doesn't seem to know that. Now, she didn't belong there. She didn't deserve to be there. Natalya didn't belong there. She definitely didn't deserve to be there. She lost every match coming out of WrestleMania, and somehow WWE tried to convince all of us on Monday night that Natalya was capable of a number one contenders match. How is that possible? She lost to Shayna Baszler twice. She lost to Liv Morgan. Who else did she lose to? I don't understand why she was even there. If that's the way you wanted to go about it, fine. Fine, but you're making yourself look stupid as far as a creative aspect for Monday Night Raw, and then you want to know why people don't watch. Because you're insulting their fucking intelligence. One of the main reasons, you might not think it's important, but I certainly do think it's important. A lot of people do think it's important. What do you think someone is thinking about when they see Natalya here in this match challenging for a number one contendership? You don't think the people realize that Natalya was on this show 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks in a row, rather. And losing to Shayna Baszler? What do you think that's going to say to those people? You're directly telling them that they're fucking stupid. You don't know anything. And then you got the roster on social media telling people like me and you and everybody else, stay in your lane, shut the fuck up, sit down, you're not in the business. You don't know any better. Give me a break. Why don't you do your job better and stop treating us like a bunch of fucking morons? So that was that. Apollo Cruz won the United States Championship. Good match. Happy for Apollo. Apollo deserved an opportunity long before this, but he's now the United States Champion. So how soon can I actually say that Vince McMahon is going to fuck this guy over? How soon does Vince McMahon start booking him to drop the United States Championship is what I want to know. I don't know, and I would love for someone to tell me in the comments section why you would have any sort of hope and faith in WWE booking Apollo Crews in this U.S. Championship run, good and meaningful. Why you would have any faith in these people doing right by Apollo Crews after they brought this guy up from NXT and he has not received one opportunity in 4.5 years. Now you mean to tell me that they're pushing Apollo Crews after 4.5 years. Why is that? Why is that? Did they get bored with everybody else? Or is Apollo Crews now the flavor of the month in Vince McMahon's ice cream parlor? We'll talk about that in a little bit. What does it mean for Andrade? Are they breaking up Andrade and Zelina Vega? I don't want to see them broken up. Zelina is half of Andrade's act. Andrade by himself doesn't seem as appealing by himself as if he were to be with Zelina Vega. I don't know, man. I think you're actually going to be harming Apollo's career at that point if you do take Zelina Vega away from him. And what does that mean? Is Apollo going is Andrade rather going face? Do you want to see, or are you interested in an Andrade babyface run? While Zelina Vega drops him and goes with Angel Garza? I can't get behind that. WWE, you speak of WWE dropping the ball. They dropped the ball on Andrade. Big time. Big time. The Moronics, they attacked Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. I don't know whether breaking them up is a good thing or a bad thing. I'm still undecided. It's an inconclusive situation here, as far as I'm concerned. Meaning, if you break them up, then we got 2 segments with Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. That's double trouble, folks. Double the nauseating content on Monday or Friday night. You either got 2 of them on the same show in separate segments, or you got one on one show and one on the other. Whereas if they stay together, then they're just together in one segment. I don't know which is worse. But, I mean, if you are looking at the state of the women's tag team division and the state of the tag team titles of the women's division, I mean, you can't get any lower than Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross versus the fucking Iconics. And no, the Iconics are not entertaining. And no, they add no value to WWE TV. In fact, the only value that the Iconics add to WWE TV is that you might actually pick up the remote control and flip to another show that you're more interested in. And that show might keep your interest, and you might never return to Monday night. Drew McIntyre dropped MVP in the VIP lounge. This was okay. MVP's becoming a little bit more, I would say he's a little bit more tolerable on Monday night in this advocate role. I no way want to see him in the ring, and he should not be in a wrestling ring anymore. He adds no value to being in the ring. You're just taking away a spot and a segment from somebody else when you put MVP of all people in a spot like that. He is more valuable with what he is doing now on the microphone for Bobby Lashley or anybody else that he wants to bring into his new stable. Now, we haven't seen Brendan Vink. We haven't seen Shane Thorne as of late. Speaking of which, we haven't seen Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. What happened to them? Is WWE even still pushing those guys? But MVP adds a lot more value on the microphone. And actually, with MVP doing what he's doing now with Bobby Lashley, this is the best. I'm still not a fan of Bobby Lashley. But this is the best Bobby Lashley has looked in many, 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 many months on WWE TV. He's actually starting to look a little legit. But still, at the end of all of this, it's too little too late. You buried Bobby Lashley for 3 years, and now you expect me to believe in him as a number 1 contender for the WWE Championship. If that was the case, and if you wanted to really push him as a big threat for Drew McIntyre's WWE title, then he should have been built up well before all of this stuff started to happen with Drew McIntyre. You're not going to sell me on him beating jobbers for 3 weeks and then say, this is the guy going up next against Drew McIntyre. All you're telling me is that Bobby Lashley's a loser and we have nobody else for Drew McIntyre to run through on his way to having a successful title reign. That's all that tells me. So Bobby Lashley, the one thing I said on the Monday Night Raw review, the one thing that they got to do with Bobby Lashley is if they really want Bobby Lashley to be taken seriously, even after this is over, because it's inevitable he's not going to win. He's not beating Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. If there is a situation where he is the WWE Champion, I think there will be outrage, to be quite honest with you. What WWE has to do is build him up in that match, produce that match with Bobby Lashley, bringing McIntyre to the brink of defeat as close as they possibly can. And I hope that they can produce a good match and really make him strong even in defeat. Have him kick out of a Claymore. Have him kick out of a Future Shock DDT. Whatever. Make him look strong. Bring it to a point where Bobby Lashley brings Drew McIntyre to his last breath, but McIntyre gets the victory. You make McIntyre look like the valiant champion, the champion that will not die. And then you got Bobby Lashley as the challenger who did not want to die in his hopes to capture his first WWE Championship. That's what they got to do. Any other way is not going to work. And then after this, if that doesn't happen, where does Bobby Lashley go? Right back to being the loser that he's always been on Monday night. Angel Garza versus Kevin Owens. I loved Angel Garza versus Kevin Owens. Garza came out and did the most simplest of heel-like acts. Attack the babyface right before the bell rung. During his entrance, shot block, took the knee out. That led to a victory. Kevin Owens, it sucks that his first match back coming after WrestleMania is against Garza and in a losing effort, but they protected Kevin Owens by that knee being the issue. and Garza taking out the knee in the most heel-like way possible. So they protected Kevin Owens, and they got Garza a much-needed win over a big babyface name on Monday night. I got no problem with that. And a Garza-Kevin Owens feud, this is what the secondary title on Monday night. This is the type of competition that title needs. So hopefully they are pointing this in the right direction. I hope. Not giving them any faith, but I hope. Street Profits and the Viking Raiders played golf. I have no idea what's coming next. It could be tennis. It could be a game of chess. I would like to see them actually do something video game related. I think that would be great. Why don't we get Xavier Woods? Why don't we have them visit Xavier Woods and do some up, down, down stuff on Monday night? At least it would appeal to the more casual audience. How many of you guys actually like playing, like watching golf? Not many of you. Golf was always something that I actually wanted to take up and be quite good at. I don't know, maybe. Does that mean I'm old? Does that mean I'm getting old because I want to play golf? But anyway, it is what it is, and I could sit here and talk all day about how to fix the tag team division, why the tag team division on Monday and Friday night sucks, but I will say this. Not going to be all negative here. I wish that they had more teams, and I wish that they did it right, but at least it's giving the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits some sort of character development. It's bringing out the charisma in both teams. I will say that. It's giving those teams a little bit more of a spotlight to just kind of be themselves. But the Viking Raiders, I hope after all of this, they go back to being the menacing Viking Raiders that we loved coming out of NXT. So we'll see what happens with that. I have no idea what they're doing next on Monday. It could be anything. It really could be anything. Murphy and Austin Theory versus Aleister Black and Humberto Carrillo. Murphy and Austin Theory win here. I thought WWE was going to book themselves into a corner here, but with Theory joining Rollins and Aleister Black and Humberto teaming up, I'm like, somebody needs to win here. And I'm looking at both of these teams, and both of these teams need a win. Aleister Black is one of the consistent guys on Monday night that needs a W. We got Humberto, who needs a fucking W just as bad as I need a beer, right? Then you got Murphy, who is the only one who stood by Rollins' side, and you got Austin Theory, who just joined Seth Rollins. Everybody needs a win here. So what did they do? They did the right thing. They had Austin Theory give the ATL, his finishing move, to Humberto Carrillo. So that's that. Aleister Black didn't get the pin. Austin Theory got the win for his team. He just joined Rollins. Good to go. Good to go. Then they threatened Humberto and Rey Mysterio. He's going to be factored into all of this. Rey Mysterio has been taken out by Seth Rollins. The Eye. Remember the Eye. And Humberto has been kind of fighting for Rey Mysterio's honor, or in his honor, or in his place. So we'll see what happens with that. I mentioned on Monday night, the Second Coming is what they need to name Rollins' new group, because they have been without a name for far too long. So we'll see what happens there. I'm excited to see what they do with this Rey Mysterio retirement angle on Monday night. Nia Jax defeated Natalya and Charlotte Flair. That was the right decision there. I am not really excited about an Asuka versus Nia Jax match. I just don't care. I really don't care. Street Profits defeated Bobby Lashley at MVP by disqualification. And that led to Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley having a decent pull-apart brawl at the end of it. Lashley refused to let go of a full Nelson. McIntyre came to the ring looking for a fight. He got what he wanted. They brawled all around ringside. Referees and officials and NXT talent came into the ring to stop it. And obviously, these two will be going head-to-head at Backlash for the WWE Championship. So Monday Night Raw was not that bad of a show. It's just when they have a good show, nobody's going to know because of all the prior weeks of the show being terrible, folks. They need some solid consistency on Monday night. AEW beats NXT in the ratings. Now, this one was pretty close. AEW Dynamite drew 827,000 viewers for their post-Double or Nothing show, and NXT drew 731,000 live viewers. Last week, AEW drew 701, and NXT drew 592,000. As is the case in most weeks, AEW won the 18 to 49 demographic. NXT ranked 24 among the top 150 shows on cable, while AEW was number 4. This is the breakdown. 18 to 49. AEW had a 0.32. NXT had a 0.19. You ain't really generating any interest in that key demographic there, bro. Female viewers, 18 to 49. AEW, 0.24. Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair was on the show, teaming with Chelsea Green against Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley. What happened there, Miss Flair? You drew in a 0.15 in the 18 to 49 female demographic. So what this means to me, folks, and what this means to everybody, is that Hikaru Shida, is better than Charlotte Flair. Or is a bigger draw than Charlotte Flair. Male viewers, 18 to 49, AEW 0.40, and NXT 0.23. Viewers, 18 to 34, AEW 0.17, NXT 0.08. Female viewers, 12 to 34, AEW 0.11, NXT 0.04. Male viewers, 12 to 34. AEW did a 0.19. NXT did a 0.15. Viewers, 25 to 54. AEW did a 0.39. NXT, a 0.23. And NXT won a demographic. They won the prune juice demographic. Grandma and Grandpa. Viewers, 50 plus. AEW, 0.30. And NXT did a 0.36. Man, oh man. There you go. AEW, obviously there were going to be a lot of people tuning into AEW. Mike Tyson was there, the fallout from the Stadium Stampede. Jon Moxley was going to be there. Brian Cage was going to be there, right? They're building towards that. Kenny Omega, Adam Page, the Bucks were on the show. They had just a lot of things going on. A lot. Cody was there to address the TNT Championship. A lot of stuff was going on. So they made it more must-see than NXT did. That's the end of the story. I don't know what else you want me to say. NXT was a good show, but NXT seems to be floundering right now. And I don't know what they need to do. I really don't. But we'll talk about NXT tomorrow. I got some big news about NXT might be purged. They might be purged by the main roster come the next couple of months. One of those names could be Adam Cole. Adam Cole versus the Velveteen Dream. NXT Championship match. Takeover in Your House. Already filmed on a closed set. Fightful reports that WWE is filming Adam Cole's NXT title defense as of Thursday. So it's already in the can, folks. They are getting this done at Full Sail, and the NXT roster was asked to carpool, meaning the NXT roster was there. Their cars will reportedly surround a ring that is set up on location behind Full Sail University. Sounds like NXT TakeOver in Your House will be a very intense setup for the NXT Championship. This could be Adam Cole's final run as the NXT champion, folks. Velveteen Dream could take it. Adam Cole could be demoted to the main roster. And it could be a situation like we're seeing with Matt Riddle. The only reason why Matt Riddle is being brought up to the main roster is because his contract is up this summer. Same thing with Adam Cole. So they brought Matt Riddle up to the main roster to A, have him make more money, B, get him to re-sign with the company, keep him happy, and push him as a big threat on SmackDown. Again, the most important thing in that is he's making more money. And they want him to be happy because if he feels like he's being squandered or he's just floundering doing nothing, he's going to get it in his mind that he's going to start looking for other opportunities. And WWE wants to keep him happy. They want to keep his bank account happy. They don't want him to go talk to an AEW or a New Japan or a Ring of Honor because when things start getting back to normal, you don't think that those companies are going to start throwing money at guys like Matt Riddle? Same thing is going to happen with Adam Cole. And I'm not saying that they're game changers. I'm not saying that they're going to turn the tide. But man, you don't want guys like Matt Riddle and Adam Cole potentially going to an AEW. That is an unbelievable... That's a Mike Tyson fucking right hand. Right to the face. Knockout. You don't want those guys going to an AEW. Or anywhere. Anywhere for that matter. And Adam Cole could be on his way out. We don't know. Only time will tell. But Matt Riddle's being brought up for those reasons. And I can absolutely see Adam Cole being brought up for those same reasons as well. Nigel McGuinness. If you guys have been watching NXT, which according to the results of the ratings, not many people are. But if you have been watching NXT on a weekly basis like I have been, you would have noticed Nigel McGuinness is not there. Every week that would go by, we would hear a report or read a report. Oh, Nigel McGuinness is home. He's got kids and wants to maintain that their health is a top priority. He doesn't want to go to work and risk his family's health. That's what we heard. Then I heard, as of this week, Thursday, going on into Friday, and Nigel McGuinness was actually furloughed by WWE. Nigel McGuinness is no longer working for WWE, as he is among the names that have been furloughed by WWE. Dave Meltzer reported the news in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter. He joins the list of names that have been furloughed or released by the company due to budget cuts related to the CV-19 pandemic. Now, the majority of the cuts took place in April, but many talent and staff who worked under NXT were not publicly released by WWE, this time like main roster stars were on that Black Wednesday afternoon. McGuinness had been doing color commentary for NXT UK alongside Andy Shepherd, who I believe was their former ring announcer. Due to the pandemic, WWE has not been able to tape any new episodes of NXT UK, but rather air best of compilations that have been hosted by Andy Shepherd only. Now, McGuinness signed with the WWE in late 2016, where he worked his first WWE shows during the United Kingdom Championship tournament in early 2017. He also worked as a commentator for the 205 Live brand and main event, in addition to NXT UK. It's been reported that some people who were furloughed by WWE could be brought back once the company starts running live events with fans again. Of all the people in this company, you're going to furlough Nigel McGuinness? I found that to be unbelievably, stupid and really, really bizarre. Really bizarre. Now, I mentioned some of this on Friday's show. Samoa Joe is a pro wrestler turned commentator. Those are the best type of color commentators. Nigel McGuinness fits into that. Nigel McGuinness is actually the best color commentator in all of WWE. It would be Nigel McGuinness, Samoa Joe, and then Corey Graves. Corey Graves he became a little bit of a shill over the years. Still great at what he does, but I enjoy Samoa Joe a little bit more. Because Samoa Joe, I guess, is a little bit more active. So Samoa Joe is going to give you a take that, I guess, Corey Graves is not really going to give you. Corey Graves might get there, but Samoa Joe's going to notice it more first than Corey Graves would. That's why I love Nigel McGuinness so much. You know, I said it, Nigel McGuinness and Morrow, they could have handled the NXT commentary by themselves during this entire period. We didn't need Beth. Beth could have been home with the kids. We didn't need Beth to be there. Beth is great. Don't get me wrong. Beth Phoenix is great. I love the fact that NXT is the best women's division in WWE. And I love the fact that Beth is a former pro wrestler herself and a great pro wrestler at that for the women's division. So I like her input on the women's division stuff. But when you talk about overall NXT commentary, Nigel and Morrow are ahead of the game. They really are. Nigel and Morrow is the best commentary duo in all of pro wrestling. Simple. And I don't even want anybody to argue that fact because there's no way you can. Now, with Nigel, I said the same thing about him kind of being in the same boat as Samoa Joe. I love that he was a pro wrestler. I love the fact that he is going to give you a take on something that a normal color commentator is not going to bring to the table. He's going to be thinking 4, 5, 6 moves ahead because he was a pro wrestler, and he's going to give you an aspect of the match that you might not be thinking about. He literally has knowledge that expands well beyond the story that is being told in the ring. Like, you and I will get the basis of a story, but Nigel can take the basis of that story, expand upon it, and really make it something epic for you to understand and become more invested in that. That's why I love Samoa Joe so much, doing what he's doing on Monday night. Now, the reason why I think Nigel was furloughed is simply because of NXT UK. They haven't filmed any new shows. They can't film anything. And WWE has aspects of commentary that they could plug into Nigel's spot. They use Byron Saxton. They use Tom Phillips. I don't really understand the 3-man booth. I never understood the 3-man booth. It is very difficult to work a 3-man booth. You're always tripping over each other, and the likelihood of you tripping over each other on commentary is very likely. 2 men is where it's at. That's perfect. But WWE seems to have 3 on Raw, 3 on SmackDown, 2 on SmackDown, right? There is no 3rd on SmackDown, so I don't see why we need a 3rd on NXT and a 3rd on Raw. But that's WWE's way of doing things. But it could have been Nigel and Mauro, or it could have been Mauro and Beth. But the only reason why Nigel has been furloughed, which I still don't understand, is because they have not been filming NXT UK episodes. So in my mind, what I think they are thinking is, well, Nigel's doing this, and he's doing 205 Live, and he's doing main event, and this and that. But with NXT UK, his primary brand, right, because he's that brand. He's been with that brand since the inception. With that brand not really doing anything right now, and that brand is at a standstill, they figured, you know what, we'll furlough Nigel McGuinness for now, and when things get back to normal, we'll bring him back. And instead of using Nigel, when we can furlough him, we could always plug in Tom Phillips, and we could always plug in Byron Saxton. I don't like it, but that's the mentality that they're thinking. They would be absolutely fucking stupid to not bring Nigel McGuinness back. I have faith in Triple H to bring back Nigel McGuinness. He may be furloughed, but when things get back to normal, there is no doubt about it. Nigel McGuinness will be back with NXT. It's just right now, being that his primary brand was NXT UK, and that brand is what, he was doing and what he was with since the inception. They figured they furlough him, and they could use anybody else to take his spot on NXT, which to me is kind of a disrespectful slap in the face, because he's done all that he could to make that brand better, and that's how they repay him, by furloughing him. It sucks. I'm trying to make sense of it. I wouldn't have made this decision, but WWE, I mean, when have they ever appreciated anything anybody has done for them? I don't know. I don't like it. Nigel McGuinness was furloughed, but I absolutely 100% think he'll be back. So I don't think you guys have anything to worry about. And like I said, they would be stupid if they don't bring back the best color commentator in the business to NXT. Samoa Joe update on when he will return. Joe suffered a concussion while filming WWE commercial for Raw. It Must Be Monday was the name of the commercial. The table bump spot made into the final cut. He got a concussion on. He took some time off, but he returned as an announcer. During Wrestling Observer Live, Meltzer said that Samoa Joe is still out of action. He's out of action with a concussion and waiting clearance. Samoa Joe is excelling in his role on commentary. He can provide a wrestler's perspective as he details what's going on in the ring and the motivation behind those actions for those superstars. His days in the ring likely are not over, but it was noted that he had a few concussions, which is not a good thing. WWE takes that shit very seriously. Meltzer also noted that he was told Samoa Joe is far too valuable as a wrestler to become a full-time announcer. WWE's current roster depth issue also creates a need for someone like Samoa Joe. WWE has a very strict concussion policy. They don't want anyone returning too early. The company also needs to avoid any nightmare situation with CTE in the future. If Joe is going to return to Monday Night Raw and they want to put him on commentary for now, I think right now is probably their best bet. They got so much talent overflowing on Monday night that you don't really need Samoa Joe, in my honest opinion. You don't feel the need for Samoa Joe on Monday night. I think he's doing a great job on Raw commentary, but do I want to see him back in the ring? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think he has a lot left in the tank, and I think he has a lot left to offer, and no matter what role WWE wants to give him. He excels at everything. Samoa Joe is multi-talented at what he does. So that's my take there. And we talked about Samoa Joe still remaining on commentary. He likely permanently replaced Jerry the King Lawler, but WWE might keep him there, keep him as an active in-ring performer as well, and do both. They might use him in a situation where someone on the active roster picks a fight with Samoa Joe, knowing that, he can't handle it anymore. He can't cut it anymore. So he's hiding behind the microphone now because he knows he can't hack it in the ring anymore. I'm waiting for someone to start a feud over all of that with Samoa Joe, and it makes sense. It's easy. He's not in the ring every week. He's not hurting himself and putting himself at risk every week if he is injury prone or has concussion problems. So WWE, I would rather them use Samoa Joe sparingly than use him consistently, if this is what's going to be. Because every time we hear Samoa Joe gets hurt and we hear he's out, it's like, fuck, this guy can't catch a break. He was on his way to doing big things. He was in the storyline with Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. I even pitched for them to win the tag team championships, and then he got hurt. Guy can't catch a break. Rey Mysterio in the United States Championship, can't catch a break. When is Samoa Joe going to get his break? So I don't mind them using him in this role. We'll see what happens, but he ain't going anywhere. He's still got a lot left in the tank. Vince McMahon, Apollo Cruz. What is WWE doing with the new United States champion? On Monday Night Raw, after he won the United States Championship from Andrade, Apollo Cruz cut a promo and said that when he first started in WWE, he heard from people close to him who said he could not make it in the WWE. Much of what was said in that promo is close to the truth because the feeling was that he was destined to be a big star. However, Vince McMahon did not see him as more than a mid-card act in WWE. This was discussed on Wrestling Observer Radio this week. Yeah, everybody thought he was going to be a big star until he started, and then they thought he couldn't do it because Vince gave up on him, Dave Meltzer said. Remember, they rushed him into the main roster right away. Brian Alvarez remarked that this is the best that Apollo has looked on the main roster, but Meltzer said the history of WWE shows that one good night does not mean a long-term push is coming for anyone. Meltzer said, I have no faith. We'll see where it goes. They might have Andrade beat him next week for the United States Championship back. Hopefully, there are big things planned for Apollo Cruz, but it's worth noting that there have been ideas pitched to him in the past, and McMahon would decide to go in a different direction. In March, there were plans to turn him heel, but then he was moved to Raw, and those plans to turn him heel on Raw have obviously gone out the window and been dropped. Is Meltzer wrong? Is Alvarez wrong? They're both correct 100% on their assessment here of Apollo Cruz. Has this been the best Apollo Cruz has looked on the main roster? Absolutely. Absolutely. I've seen Apollo more in the last 2 months than I've seen in 5 years on the main roster. And it all started with that 27-minute match against Aleister Black. I didn't even think, listen, I'd be the first to tell you. When he wrestled Aleister Black in that 28, 29, 30-minute match on Monday Night Raw, I'm like, well, A, why is this happening? B, I have no faith in them pushing Apollo Cruz. Why are they making him look like this superstar against Aleister Black, right? Because obviously, if you're going to be put in there in a 30-minute match against Aleister Black, something has to be up. Something has to be up. Now, I would not trust WWE at all. Could have been just a situation where they were empty-handed. They needed good talent to get them through a good portion of the show. He was there, willing to lend a helping hand and be a good little soldier and do what Vince McMahon tells him to do. But this might be a situation similar to Asuka. There was a report coming around WrestleMania that Vince McMahon is looking at Asuka as the proverbial MVP of Monday Night Raw. That she was there. She showed up to work amidst the pandemic, ready to work, doing whatever Vince McMahon asked her to do. No questions asked. Vince then turned around and looked at that and said, you know what? I am very pleased with the effort that she's putting into being a team player. And he turned around and rewarded her. Is that Vince McMahon doing the same thing to Apollo Cruz? I would hope so. I would hope so. But we can be happy for Apollo Cruz all we want. We can be happy that he's the United States champion. I know I am. I think Apollo Cruz is great. I think Apollo Cruz has what it takes if given the opportunity to really be a standout guy in WWE. He needs a little work on the character. We need a little bit more of who he is, a little direction. But we all know that he's got it in the ring. Can he cut a promo? Does he have the natural charisma that we would expect from a WWE superstar to catch the eye of Vince McMahon? I don't know. WWE's history shows that they push and push and push and push, and they go nowhere. They can push this guy, they can push that guy, they can push this guy over there, that guy over there. What does it mean after 4 years of being buried to the casual fan? Who looks at Apollo Cruz and says, I have hope in this guy after knowing what had happened to him in 4 years? I would look at you and tell you that you're a blithering idiot if you think Apollo Cruz is going anywhere, just based off the history of what WWE has done. Why have they now pushed Apollo Cruz after 4.5 years? Is it because Apollo Cruz is the flavor of the week, flavor of the month? Is Vince McMahon going to replace him with a new flavor next month, in July, in August, in September? When? What makes Apollo Crews special now that Apollo Crews didn't have in, I guess, July of the 2016 draft when he was brought up from NXT? What makes him special now compared to then? Why push him now and not push him then when SmackDown of all fucking years was used that year as the brand to get yourself over? The brand was pushed as close to an NXT product as the main roster was that year following that draft. That was the opportunity that WWE gave its superstars to be away from Monday Night Raw and develop a name for yourself. They seemingly sabotaged Apollo Crews, brought him up and wasted him away. 2016, 2017, 18, 19, nothing. And now all of a sudden in 2020, now you're going to push Apollo Crews? I don't know what it is, but I honestly think this is the case of Vince McMahon being picky. Vince McMahon being bored. This is nothing more. And listen, I am happy for Apollo Crews. And the truth might hurt you when it comes out of my mouth. This is nothing but Vince McMahon going through his toy chest and being bored with the current toys he has on Monday Night Raw. This is Vince McMahon digging at the bottom of his toy chest, pulling out a toy that he has not seen in years or has not given a shit about in years. He dusted it off, he wiped it off, cleaned it, and now he's putting it back on the shelf for regular rotation. He's playing with it now again after 4.5 years of forgetting about it because all the other new toys are not to his liking. They're either boring or they don't do enough. One doesn't speak. One doesn't do a lot of moves. One doesn't look the way he wants. This is nothing more than Vince McMahon getting bored with the current crop of guys, and he's going back into his toy bin and playing with something that was always good, but he just didn't give a shit about. Rinse and repeat, folks. Rinse and repeat. But if you follow the history of Monday Night Raw, look at what they've done with Andrade, with Garza, with Theory, with Ricochet, with Cedric Alexander, with Kevin Owens, and everybody else that's been brought up from NXT to do something on the main roster. How quick does Vince McMahon get bored of them? How? How many times? This is nothing more than what I said it was. I hope that WWE does right by him. I really do. With Drew McIntyre being so strong as a WWE champion, you would think that WWE would set up a mid-card title to be just as strong as your main title. If nobody else is going to be on this show fighting for the WWE Championship outside of a Bobby Lashley and a Jinder Mahal coming up, right? And whoever else they got lined up for Drew McIntyre going on through the rest of 2020. You got one of the best mid-card acts, mid-card divisions in all of pro wrestling on Monday Night Raw. And you mean to tell me you can't book this championship and Apollo Crews in the manner that they need to be booked? The one thing that WWE should be doing is embracing the new talent, embracing this guy wanting to work, embracing him wanting to be there and help you during this time. If he got rewarded, great. Now it's your opportunity to show him that he is valued. Now it's your opportunity to show us that the United States Championship actually means something. But how much faith do you have in WWE to do that? They've treated the title like shit. They've treated Apollo like shit. It's like taking shit and serving it on a silver platter, expecting me to care about it. This is a gourmet meal. Please indulge. Doesn't work that way. The title in this case is not going to make Apollo better, and Apollo is not going to make the title better because they were both dead acts. You got a dead title and a dead act in Apollo. Now you have the opportunity to change all of that. Start booking him against Andrade. Start booking him against Garza. Start booking him against the Kevin Owens. Start booking him against the Theory. Start booking him against guys like that. Ricochet. Watch how the title becomes a little bit more important. Watch how the consistency makes Apollo that much more respected. Watch how the consistency makes the reign that much better. Watch how the United States Championship starts to be elevated on Monday night and is looked at as a title that is competitive. It's not that difficult, WWE. Do right by this guy. Instead of taking somebody for the sake of taking somebody, take them, use them, mold them, guide them, and cherish the fact that You got guys like this on your fucking roster. Don't make him out to be like everybody else. This is why the show sucks. This is why nobody stands out. Do the right thing. I'm telling you right now. I love it. But I have no faith in this guy holding this title for an extended run. When has WWE shown you that they've ever given a shit about the United States Championship, especially as of late? When have they ever showed you that they gave a shit about Apollo Crews outside of what we've seen coming out of WrestleMania? The answers are there. It's up to WWE to change those answers and give us the correct ones. Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio. There's a potential surprise and a big segment planned for Rey Mysterio's retirement celebration on Raw. Now, as noted, WWE announced a retirement ceremony for Rey Mysterio on this week's Raw. Rumors and reports about Mysterio's retirement have been ongoing for a while. He turned 45 years old in December, has undergone several knee surgeries, but the former WWE champion is still going strong in the ring. But did Rollins really force Mysterio into retirement ahead of his 46th birthday? As you can probably guess, it's apparently part of the grander storyline that they have in place. This is coming from Sportskeeda. A report from Sportskeeda said and explained that Rey Mysterio is not done yet, though his contract allows him to retire whenever he so chooses. Rey Mysterio won't be doing so on Monday night, this coming Monday. WWE has since added that since Seth Rollins will be the host of the ceremony, which clearly means this is an angle to further Mysterio and Rollins' feud, this will lead to a match at Backlash. Something big will happen on Monday night. We don't know what that big thing is. Now, Mysterio's deal is set to expire in a couple of months, but the expectation WWE is that he is staying, so that likely means that we will get a match, and Rey Mysterio will probably be built into whatever storyline coming out of this. It's going to be overcoming. It might include family. I don't know what is going to happen, but clearly they have big plans for Rey Mysterio, and the only reason why they have big plans for Rey Mysterio is because of that contract coming up. And they want to keep him, and they want to show him that, listen, we're going to put a priority on you to use you so you don't go to AEW because we don't want you to sign with Cody. That's the only reason why they're doing this. Now, we don't know if Mysterio is going to stay. It's all hearsay. We don't know if Mysterio wants to be out of his WWE deal. You know, he did have that 18-month deal where he could, or that 24-month deal, I believe, where he could have opted out at month 18. I think we're well beyond that. I do believe that Rey Mysterio's contract is up in September of this year. A lot of big-name free agents coming up. Daniel Bryan, Matt Riddle, Adam Cole. WWE's got a lot of thinking to do. They got some money that needs to be shared with these performers if they want to keep them. Now, Rey Mysterio, I don't know what's happening with Mysterio. I really don't. I think all signs point to Mysterio wanting out. I really do. I don't know what would keep Mysterio in the WWE. Maybe this is WWE's last-ditch attempt to really put a priority on Rey Mysterio. Maybe they want to give him one final run. But is he ever going to get a one final run? This is what I wonder about Jeff Hardy. Is Jeff Hardy going to get a one final run? You know, they could talk about his redemption story all they want. But if Jeff Hardy is not going to re-sign with the WWE and more than likely end up in AEW with Matt Hardy, how much of a redemption storyline is it going to be? Is it going to be a redemption storyline, or is WWE going to do to Jeff Hardy like they've done to everybody else on their way out? Bury him. Is it going to be a redemption or a burial for Jeff Hardy? These are the things that I wonder about. I hope not, but these are the things that you also have to keep in the back pocket. Got to take that into consideration. Now, there's a big thing that's supposed to happen on Monday night. A big thing. I don't know what that big thing is, but I'm going to tell you what I would do here right now. Now, I would have Rollins and Mysterio and all of this happen and revolve it around Dominic. I would have Dominic there on Monday night. I would have Dominic there with his father, and I would have Rollins, Theory, I would have Murphy, Dominic, Rey, and whoever else in his family there. Make it a big deal. Make it believable. I don't know how they would go about it. I would not know how they would go about it, but if they want Rollins to be the sadistic prick, the real true messiah, if they wanted Rollins' influence to really be felt across the brand and everybody to take him as a legitimate threat, I'm having Rollins and Dominic set this thing up where Dominic ends up turning on Rey. Dominic joins Seth Rollins in the group, which I am deeming the Second Coming, because that's his theme song name. So why not name the group after the theme song? It's great. I would have Rollins convince Dominic to join his disciplehood, and I would have Dominic turn on Rey Mysterio. That's it. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they would get to that point, but man, oh man, if you want Rollins to be elevated, there's no fucking better elevation than pulling on the heartstrings of Dominic turning on Rey and beating down his own father because he's been influenced by Rey Mysterio. You got a storyline there for redemption that could be fucking great. Rey trying to save his son Dominic from Seth Rollins. This makes Seth Rollins out to be the sadistic fucking cult leader on Monday night. And Rey Mysterio is doing everything and anything to save his son from being manipulated by this beast. I mean, bro, it sells itself. It sells itself. You want something. What WWE needs is story. They need something for you to continue watching week to week. They need something for you to latch onto and really be invested in every single week. And WWE, according to WrestleVotes, they had a big storyline planned that would span out across the summer. Nobody knew what that meant when WrestleVotes reported that. They said it was in vain of a Vince McMahon limo explosion or a big Nexus angle. Could this be the storyline that WrestleVotes was talking about? Now, they wanted to wait until there was a live audience. We're getting closer and closer as the days and the weeks go on to maybe getting a live audience. No matter how small or how big, there will be a live audience. There's a live audience there now. The NXT universe is there in the crowd. Could this be the storyline that WrestleVotes was talking about? Could this be the one that spans over the summer months on Monday Night Raw, leading to Rey Mysterio's, redemption, and him saving his son from the dastardly and satanic Seth Rollins? Could be. WWE has some key things in place to really make this feel epic. They got some key things in place to really take this and run with it and give Monday Night Raw some meaning. You got Drew McIntyre doing whatever he's doing on Monday night with the WWE Championship. You're going to need another storyline to kind of offset that. You can't have Drew carrying the entire brand. It's got to go up and down the roster. Every aspect of that show needs to feel important. You got Drew at the top doing what he's doing, Rollins and Mysterio. You build Apollo's United States Championship run. The only thing that would be left is Asuka and Shayna. That's eventually going to happen. And then you got the tag team championships. Nothing is perfect on this show. But I'm telling you, man, WWE has people on this brand, wrestlers on this brand, to really make it feel special up and down 3 hours. Could this be what WrestleVotes was talking about? Now, I did some digging. Dominic actually suspended his Facebook account. He has privated and deleted his private Facebook account in recent weeks, and his friends have been in the dark about his wrestling career. Likely because whatever they have planned for him is being kept secret. So it's wise to keep your friends out of the loop to prevent any news from being leaked. Now, like I said, that just adds fuel to the fire of whatever I talked about. I'm pushing this, and I hope Dominic is on Monday night and we see something like that. That would be great. Seth Rollins' performance with Rey Mysterio and jabbing his eye into the corner of the steel steps was great. Him threatening Humberto Carrillo on behalf of Rey Mysterio on Raw this week was great. How do you top that? Having Dominic influenced by Seth to turn on his father? That's some damn good storytelling right there, man. I hope it happens. This could be big. Not only for Rey, not only for Seth, but for Dominic. Imagine this being the start of Dominic's career, him turning on his father only to be saved. Salvation at SummerSlam. I love it, man. I absolutely love it. I think it's great. We'll see what happens. I could be wrong. I could be getting you guys hyped up for no reason. Pay me. Pay me. Speaking of SummerSlam, another rumor going around is Edge versus Rollins at SummerSlam. Now, I don't know what would happen with the Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins storyline, when that would culminate, but we could see Rollins and Edge at SummerSlam, as it's been rumored. Now, another one of these situations could take place. Another big storyline could take place on Monday night, which means Edge, after he finishes with Randy Orton, could eventually move on to Seth Rollins. So, I believe one of these guys talked about it in Sports Illustrated. Rollins sees his path crossing with Edge in the near future. This is what he had to say in Sports Illustrated. I can only assume that our paths will cross, me and Edge. I don't know what Edge's contract looks like. I don't know where his story with Randy Orton is going next, but I enjoyed their match at WrestleMania, and I look forward to their match at Backlash. If I were to guess, putting myself in Edge's shoes, I would think he has some unfinished business with me. That's what he said. So one has to assume at some point these guys' paths are going to cross. So Edge is someone that, he says, I've admired for a long time. He's someone that I've been compared to a lot of my times in my career. It's something I never thought was possible, but I think it would be a cool callback to the story you mentioned from all those years ago. Now that it's on the table, I don't see why we wouldn't address it. Now, if WWE wants to sell SummerSlam as a big event, clearly that's a big-time match. I don't know where Edge and Randy Orton go from here. For all we know, Edge and Randy Orton could end up as a tag team, and Rated RKO could become a thing on Monday night. I have no idea. But if you're asking me what I would like to see, more so, Rollins and Mysterio with Dominic, or Edge and Rollins, I'm going to take Mysterio and Seth Rollins. I guess it all hinders on what Edge and Randy Orton do at Backlash. But right now, I don't really care for what they're doing outside of the great promo work that both have done in this entire feud. I think the greatest match ever, or the greatest wrestling match ever, moniker, or the motto that they're going with here, is a complete slap in the face of everybody. It's actually taken me out of the match. I've lost my interest in the match due to them making us look fucking stupid and treating us like dumb idiots. Finally, guys, we're going to get out of here after this one because I'm tired and I want to go to the beach and I want to have a cold beverage. WWE lets Major Edge trademark expire. Backstage rumors on plans for his character. And it appears WWE is going to go in a totally new direction with Edge's character, considering the trademark that they just let expire that Edge made famous. This is coming from The Observer and Meltzer. WWE has reportedly abandoned their trademark filing for Edge's Rated R Superstar nickname, suggesting that they decided to not push that moniker any longer, which doesn't make sense in modern-day WWE 2020. The Rated R? Forget about it. People will probably be triggered over that on social media. Can you imagine? As the report goes, WWE let their copyright claim lapse on 21st of May. They previously trademarked Rated R Superstar on April 5th, which was the same date as Edge's return to singles action against Randy Orton at WrestleMania on night 2 of WrestleMania 36. But since that time, either WWE has accidentally let it expire or they've had a change of plans. This isn't the first time WWE has abandoned the Rated R Superstar moniker, which makes this time different. That Edge is an active competitor and WWE can capitalize on the rights, marketing, merchandise, and other ideas that would have come from that nickname. In fact, there were even times when Edge was gone from WWE that the company held on to the trademark just in case. Now that he's active and they don't want it, says something else is in the works. Someone on Twitter noted that the Rated R Superstar tag is outdated considering WWE's PG-like rating, and he's clearly not going to be acting that way moving forward. But will a new moniker be placed upon the WWE Hall of Famer? WWE has trademarked Grit or something along those lines. He's heading into a match with Randy Orton at Backlash, likely to determine the winner of the greatest wrestling match ever, which it won't be. Could WWE have something up their sleeve there? We don't know. Hopefully not, because Edge, he's not in conversation with the Bret Harts and the Shawn Michaels and the Kurt Angles and the Ric Flairs, but I doubt WWE is going to do anything with this match, greatest wrestling match ever. In fact, the backlash from it is more than likely inevitably coming, because there is no way that these guys will ever live up to anything those aforementioned names have done in the past, especially now in 2020. So WWE let a major trademark expire with Edge, the Rated R superstar. You know, I don't really see this as being major news. I don't really see this being an issue. There's no way WWE could have Edge do anything he did while he was the Rated R superstar. So I guess it works. He's now a family man. There's no reason to be Rated R. So WWE let it expire. They let it expire. But more than likely, WWE is always going to have that in their back pocket because of merchandising, and they could always put that on a t-shirt. WWE is just not going to do it as far as moving Edge forward and moving his character forward on WWE TV because it doesn't fit with the times, it doesn't fit with the character, and there's no need for it on WWE TV. Nothing about WWE TV is rated R. Nowhere close. And nothing, especially with Edge, is rated R in 2020. Guys, I'm getting out of here. Thank you so much for all of your support. I will be back on Sunday with part 3 of Off the Script. Major call-ups to the main roster. Who is it? Or who are they, I should say? And what will they be doing? And what brands will they be going to? We'll talk about that, as well as all the other news to round out the rest of the week right here on Off the Script. Also, SmackDown has high hopes for Matt Riddle. See what I did there? High Matt Riddle. Yeah, you get it. Also, one of SmackDown's lead writers has been fired. Who is it and why? I got the reason why. And why Jeff Hardy was able to appear at the end of SmackDown after being dinged with a DUI arrest at the beginning of SmackDown on Friday. And a big name is expected to be back with the WWE. All that plus more on Sunday's special episode of Off the Script. Guys, I'm getting out of here. Follow me on Twitter at JDfromNY206. That is on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Turn on that bell for all notifications. If you missed Off the Script Part 1, 328, and SmackDown, links are down below in this video. Go and check that stuff out. And if you guys want, please support the podcast via Patreon at patreon.com/JDfromNY206. Hit that thumbs up, bro. And I'll be back on Sunday with more content right here to round out your weekend on Off the Script. Have a great Saturday. I'll see you right back here, guys, on Sunday night for Part 3 of OTS.